Welcome, everyone. My name is Jonathan Leitonen, and I'm the Instruction and Reference Specialist at the Montgomery Library here at Campbellsville University. I'm the staff member who focuses on helping students find resources and understand how to use our databases more efficiently. If you ever need an appointment or have a question, I'm the one who can help. This library tutorial is for students in our education programs, so let's get started. So we're going to work on how to write effective search phrases really for any database. And then I want to talk about how to connect Google Scholar to the Montgomery Library, how to navigate CU Search, which is our main search system, and then how to navigate the ERIC database and also ProQuest, which is another database, and then how to create and edit APA citations for articles using the tools at the library website. Okay, so before I go into actually demonstrating how these tools work, I want to talk a little bit more about the philosophy of research and what we're actually doing when we dig into the research field. So I've basically identified four of the top ways to access the education research field. And none of these tools is perfect, but that's why it's good to use multiple tools. But let's first think about what we're actually trying to access. So we're trying to access potentially hundreds or even thousands of articles related to your research topic that are basically out there on the web or out there at libraries worldwide. And then we want to some of these articles will actually have similar research questions to what you're doing, or they have similar methods, similar populations studied. So then these are the four tools that I think we should be very familiar with, especially if you're doing education research. So the first one I would say is Google Scholar, which is very broad, and you can actually connect it to our Campbellsville University library, so you get access to materials that are normally behind the paywall, so you can get them for free through the library. And then CU Search is also really helpful, a very broad look at multiple databases that's on our library homepage. Then you can also zoom in to individual databases such as ERIC, which is specifically for education, and then ProQuest, which is a really broad database that has a lot of education related materials in it as well. All right, so let's then, before we actually go use those databases, we need to know how to make good searches. So we can start with a sample research topic and then convert it into a Boolean search. So this is just a really general topic. It might still be too broad even for an actual paper, but you would have to talk to your professor about what topic is approved. But anyway, this would be a start. So the topic here I suggest for this example is, how is behavior specific praise used to reduce bullying among middle school students? So we can't just type that into a general search bar usually, unless you're using an AI one, which is a little bit different, but we want to learn things the old-fashioned way. How do you make a Boolean search using things like and or or? So let me give you one Boolean search phrase. So a Boolean search uses the word and. And notice also that I took this keyword here, or this concept of behavior specific phrase, I put it in quotation marks because it's more than one word. And here it's just, bullying is just one word, so I put that here. And then we need to capitalize this operator called and. So this means that every article that will show up, or every book in the database, has to have both of these terms in them. And then another way we could do it, we could also use the word middle school. We could do behavior specific praise in quotation marks, and middle school in quotation marks, because it's two words. Or if we want to combine it further, oh no, we could also think of another word. There are other synonyms for middle school, or different technical terms that you could use to get articles about that topic. So then you can use brackets like this to use multiple or alternative terms. So here, every article has to mention behavior specific praise and one or more of these. So at least it has to say middle school or secondary school to get the context here. And then we can combine all of these ideas at once: behavior specific praise and bullying and middle school or secondary school. And those last two items are in brackets. So those are called Boolean searches because they use either the word and or or. And always remember to put and or in all capital letters when you're searching. This will work in any search engine. It'll be whether it's Google or ProQuest, CU Search, they all understand this kind of language. That's the original old-fashioned way to do searches, and you'll get often much better results if you use it this way. All right, so after you put in your search terms, you don't just want to click on the first article that you get. You need to always practice information self-defense. And you can do that with something called the TRAP test for judging sources. So you can use this test when using any website or resource, including academic sources. You always want to pay attention to the timeliness. When did the article or book come out? Is the information up to date, and how does that affect its accuracy? Next, you want to think about the reliability. Does the author provide sources so you can verify the accuracy of the information presented? Next, authority. Is the author an expert? You could even look up who the author is. Is the source peer-reviewed by scholars? What reputation does the publisher have? And then lastly, point of view. You want to think about what biases it might have. What is its original purpose and audience? Does the source appear biased? Is it aimed at informing scholars, which is a good thing, or is it just spreading propaganda or selling a product? So something to keep in mind is that peer-reviewed scholarly sources in general are much more credible than blogs or different kinds of articles that you see in the media. All right, and then another technique I want to let you know about is called mining, or mining for search terms in abstracts and intros. So after you find some relevant sources, you will normally encounter new keywords in the titles, abstracts, and introductions to the articles you find. So you can use any relevant keywords and add them to your list of search terms, and you can create brand new searches that way. So here's an example. So when I put in my previous search phrase that I made up, I found one article that was about emotional behavioral disabilities, also known as EBD. So here's a new search phrase based on that. I did a little bit of background reading there. So in quotation marks, I put this phrase, behavior-specific praise, in quotes, and then I put capitalized A and D. And then I put emotional behavioral disabilities in quotation marks, followed by or, and then emotional behavioral disorder, since that's also used in some literature, or EBD, which could be an acronym perhaps for either of these. So then I could try that out and see what sources I get based on having read previous articles. And you can just keep going, find new critical keywords as you read and create new searches. That's a good strategy for finding the best sources for your paper. All right, so now, so before I also show you Google Scholar, I want to talk about some of the benefits and drawbacks of this very powerful tool. So some benefits are that it basically gives you a comprehensive view of virtually all public research, and it can actually give you more results than some library databases. It has a filter option for viewing only review articles, such as systematic reviews or meta-analyses, which are kind of a third kind of research in addition to empirical research. They also have many free articles, and some are available on the Scholars Research Profile websites, or they're free through some government sources. And this tool it also has a tool to display links directly to articles in the CU Montgomery Library databases. And those articles are usually not free to the public, but when you connect it to Google, or when you connect Google Scholar and our library, then you can get those articles for free as a student. But then let's go on to some drawbacks as well. So Google Scholar does include items that are not peer-reviewed. It includes preprints, sometimes random course papers by students get in there by accident, or conference papers that might not be peer-reviewed yet. And it also takes a little extra time to see if the publisher or the journal is well respected and check if it's peer-reviewed, but that's okay. That's something you should still do. Look up the source of an article. And then another drawback is that many high-quality articles are behind paywalls, as I said. So when you have that issue, you just have to copy the title into CU Search. And then if we don't have it, you can often get these articles through Interlibrary Loan and request them. We can email you links to articles at other libraries as well. All right, so now we're going to do the Google Scholar demo and also the databases demo. So there's some specific steps to connect these databases. So first, you'll need to sign into the Montgomery Library website, and then you click Browse Guides on the library homepage. And then on the list of guides, you can find the Google Scholar Guide and find those steps for yourself, but I'll show them to you as well in this video. You just have to follow those instructions. It's kind of very specific. And then I'll also show you the steps to find the Education Library Guide, where you can find other recommended databases for education. And for that, you have to click Browse Guides on the library homepage and then click find education on that list. And I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, so here we are at the Montgomery Library homepage, and I wanted to warn you that there may be some updates coming out over the next few weeks and months to the website, but the general procedures for finding resources should stay the same. So the first thing you should always do when you open the Montgomery Library website is you should always sign in. So in order to do that, the current way is to actually click Advanced Search, which brings you into CU Search, and then the sign in button appears here at the top. So then you click sign in and you sign in with your email information. Okay, so here we are signed in. You can check your account information here where it says my account. And then normally I just go back to the library homepage by clicking the chapel icon here. All right, so now what I was saying was in order to get the Google Scholar Guide, we need to scroll down here to find a library guides. And here we have a list of different subjects we have and different topics. And so there's the education guide, by the way. We'll look at that later. And then the Google Scholar Guide. So this has all the steps you need to follow in order to enable this connection. So I'll start with this step here. Step 1, open this in a new tab. All right, so in order to connect Google Scholar to our library, you click this, the menu at the top left here, and then you scroll down to settings, and then we want something called library links. Click that, and now I'm going to type in Campbellsville and make sure it's fully connected. So I click Campbellsville, and you can see there's several different tools here. So I'm going to add that here. So we want to make sure all the boxes are checked for Campbellsville University. Then I'll click Save. If you have a Google account, it will actually save those settings on your account. But if you don't, you just have to go in and check that box every time you use it. All right, so now we're going to take one of my search terms from the PowerPoint. All right, so we're going to try this really long search phrase from the PowerPoint. And I'll show you we should be able to get something. So I'll click search. All right, something useful about Google Scholar is that it has a lot of tools here. It has a citation button, for example, here. And then there's also the cited by button or cited by link. So let's find this one. So, okay, so addressing problem behavior at recess using peer praise notes. Interesting. And this one is from 2017. You can check the year here and you can see how it has been cited by 37 sources. So the cited by tool is very useful. You can also click related articles and find other articles that have a similar topic. Then as we go through this list, a lot of these articles you can just click on them and see if you can get access to them, but others will actually say have this special link here that says full text at CU or CU full text view, full text at CU. There's these different links here. So if you click this one, let's find one that's newer. So 2002. Let's try this one down here. It's from 2020 by this journal published by Springer. All right, so if we click full text at CU, let's see if it works. So here we'll connect through one of our databases and we can access it here. All right, so see now we got the article here. There's a citation button here if you want to create an APA citation for it, and then you can use it in your paper. Let's try a few others here. So here's one from 2017, CU full text view. Actually, I'll open it in a new tab. Okay, this one. All right, so this one actually must be in an open access journal or something. So I can download it here. So yeah, I was able to get the article here. Let's see if I can find another one. All right, this one says full text. The thing is, some articles, if they're from the NIH, they're going to be anyway free and open to the public. How about we try this one, alternative education. So that's a brand new article, 2025. Let's see if that works. So it's connecting now through EBSCOhost. That's one of the database companies we use. All right, so this is the kind of article that normally the public would have to pay for, but we get it free here at our institution. So this looks like a really top quality article here from Routledge in the Journal of Preventing School Failure. So you can download it here, get more information about this topic here. And let me go back to the search page. All right, so yeah, just to review, so that there's all these different tools within Google Scholar. You could cite it. You can see other articles that have cited an article. These are more recent articles that cited it. And let me go back to also show you some other filters. If I go back to the home page, it's also I also had mentioned that there's this tool called for finding review articles. So now we're set to the filter for any type of article, but you can also click review articles. That includes articles about kind of stepping back and gathering a whole bunch of articles and pulling out the main points from them, comparing their findings and analyzing them, synthesizing findings. Sometimes they even look at the statistics and compare the statistics and come up with a statistical analysis of previous studies. All right, so those are some amazing things you can do here with Google Scholar. Okay, so a few other points I wanted to make are that it's really important to check if the journal that you're using is peer reviewed. So for example, this one, it's easy to check when you look at the article through the CU website to check if it's peer reviewed. But if it's an article you're not sure about, here's another thing you can do. So you can click on the article, and then now we're actually at the journal website. You have the title of the journal here. You can copy and paste that into Google, do a little more background research. You can look at the about page for the journal and learn about the editorial process and see that it's peer reviewed. But you still might want to see some third-party ratings of the journal to see what the scholarly reputation is for the journal. And another thing I wanted to say is if you're ever encountering an article that's not available, so if say it's not open access and it's not in the library system, let's just see if we could find one. So I'll just show you the process. Let's just assume that this is behind a paywall, even though I don't know for sure. But here's the process you would use. So you copy the title, but not the subtitle. You want a part of the title that's unique, and you don't want to copy the colon because that'll throw off the search. So I'm going to copy just that part of the title, and I'll open up a new tab for the Montgomery Library website. Then I'm going to put this title in quotation marks, and then this is going to help us see if this article appears in our system or maybe in the library's worldwide system. So let's go back here. So Frontiers in Education. So it's actually not showing up in our library system. So then you have to expand it to libraries worldwide. That's the same thing as the interlibrary loan system. If you click at my library, there's another way to do this here. Click libraries worldwide. And now we can see it's actually open access. It's available at the publisher's website. So let's try another article. Find one that's not open access. All right, how about we'll do this one, a systematic review of behavioral interventions. I'll copy that title, put that into CU search here. All right, so this one is appearing at another library worldwide. So in order to request it through our library system, you have to click the title. Well, by the way, you can confirm that it says at other libraries worldwide here. You click the title, then you make sure you're signed in because I got signed out here. And then after you sign in, you click request item through interlibrary loan, and you fill out your information on this form, and you fill out you click submit request at the bottom. But I'm not signed in, so it doesn't have my information. So just a reminder, if you're going to do this, make sure you sign in first, and then usually within about 2 weeks, we can actually email it to you as a PDF or as a link. So that's another way you can get access to research that you find through Google Scholar. You can use our interlibrary loan system. All right, so now that we're in CU Search, I want to go over some more tools here. So let's just start over at the library homepage. All right, so here we are at the library homepage. Let's just review one more time how to sign in. You click Advanced Search, find the sign in button here. You can check your account here, as I said earlier. All right, let's go back to the homepage. I generally don't like using that advanced search tool. I often just like to put in my keywords here. So we're going to try that try this same search again from the PowerPoint. And you can see it will get different results than on Google Scholar. All right, before I click search, I want to remind you what these tabs mean at the top. So first, there's the everything tab. If you want to just do articles, you can do that, or you want to find ebooks, print books. By the way, if you live off campus in the United States, you can actually request that we mail print books to you. So if you would like that, just email us and we'll explain how that works. All right, so I'm going to search this, use this search phrase now and see what we get through the everything function. So in this case, actually, we didn't get any. If this ever happens that your search phrase is too focused, then I'm going to take out this other keyword. And I think we'll still find something about behavior-specific praise and middle school or secondary schools. All right, here, so I broadened it out, and we still got some results here. This looks familiar. I remember seeing this on Google Scholar. If you want to access the article, you just click the title, and you click View Full Text there. There's a really useful citation tool here. So if you want to use this article, you can create your APA citation here. You just copy it, but make sure that the format is correct. There could be missing data, missing information, and also this is actually the wrong capitalization. You're supposed to use sentence case in APA format, so there's a mistake here. So you always have to check these automatic citations and make sure they match the requirements of your professor. And you can read the summary here. You can get more keywords through reading the summary. Next, I want to show the search filters. So unfortunately, we don't have any books or anything. So let me make the search even broader. Let's just see what we have. Behavior specific praise. A broad search. So now we have 132 results. So here it can tell you whether you're accessing articles or books or different materials. So unfortunately, we don't have any books on this topic. And then in order to make sure you're filtering only the highest quality peer-reviewed sources, you can click this button here called Show Only, and then there's a Peer-Reviewed button. But one thing to be aware of is that there's a problem with this peer-reviewed box, because I'm pretty sure this is a peer-reviewed source, but we don't see the peer-reviewed icon. This one has a peer-reviewed icon, so if you click that peer-reviewed box here, it'll only show the ones that are verified as peer-reviewed. But sometimes it might be good just to start with that box unchecked, because this article does look like it's probably a peer-reviewed article. So you probably have to take this journal title and search it on Google and find some background information about it. But just to let you know, if you don't click this peer-reviewed checkbox, you'll get all kinds of sources. You might even get news articles, magazine articles that aren't scholarly. So if we just click the peer-reviewed box, you'll see what I'm talking about. It chops it down to a smaller number of sources. So these are all verified peer-reviewed sources. All right, so let's talk about interlibrary loan again. So notice that, see, I'm only getting 113 results in Montgomery Library. It might be nice to get more articles than that. So remember how to do that. To expand the search, you go down to here to the At My Library tab. You click that open on the filter, and then you can click Libraries Worldwide. And now we go to almost double the number of sources. So here's an article that appears at other libraries worldwide. So that means that we don't directly subscribe to that journal, but we can request it from one of the libraries in our network. We click the title and click Request Item through Interlibrary Loan, and that's very useful for graduate research, especially when you need to be as broad as possible. All right, so next we're going to move away from CU Search. We're going to try a different database. So I'm going to go back to the home page here. So there are a couple ways to find the databases for education research. If you already know what database you want, I recommend clicking Databases A to Z, and then you can just scroll down and find ERIC, for example, ERIC. That's an online library of education research and information. Or you could go to something called Academic Search Complete, which is a broad search, or go to ProQuest, which is an even broader search. It includes dissertations, news articles, academic journals, all kinds of sources in there. But also, let me go back to the home page and show you the Library Guide to Education. So if we scroll down here, you go to Browse Guides, and then let's go to the Education Guide. This can give you a one-stop for finding all of the main databases that I recommend for education. At the top of the page, you actually get a review of how Boolean searches work, in case you forget. And then, as I said, the top picks are ERIC and ProQuest. Those are the two. And there's others as well, Psychology and Behavioral Sciences collection. Especially for the topic with behavior, you can find more focused articles in that one. So anyway, I'm going to start with ERIC. I'll open that in a new tab. I'm going to put in my search topic, behavior specific praise, and see what we get. So we got actually a total results of 150. So in a way, that's actually somewhat higher than what we got in CU search. So you can see that this provides us a different window on the research. But it's also good to check this full text box because some of these articles are not available. So let's click. So see, this one says access options. So that means you can view it. This one doesn't have access options. So that means you would have to copy the title, put it into CU search, request it through interlibrary loan. And a lot of these, you'll see they have a verified peer-reviewed check mark here. This one is very trustworthy that if it says it's peer-reviewed, that's very accurate. This database is a little bit better updated than CU search. You can also just click peer-reviewed here to get only the peer-reviewed articles, to cut out the news and magazine articles. Let's click this title, and then I can show you some other options here. If you want to download it, you click download. If you want to cite the article, you can get the citation information here. Click the style and change it to APA. And then, as always, you always have to check these and check if the citation is correct. As you can see, it's making the same mistake again. It's not using sentence case. There are too many capital letters here, so make sure you always edit. By the way, I do have a whole guide about citation to help you. So if we go back to the library homepage, we go to Browse Guides, and then you scroll down to citation styles, you can get a good overview of APA citation here. Just read through these materials. You can check out my videos here, and then try these links here about APA, the basics of APA, how that works. And then you can use these resources to help you check whether these articles are being cited correctly, because as I said, there's often minor mistakes in the format that you need to correct yourself. Let me see anything else here. And yeah, by the way, yeah, Boolean searching will work here as well. So we put and in all capital letters. Let's try bullying here. Behavior specific praise and bullying. See if there's anything. So what's interesting is it actually didn't reveal any results. So that means that this is not such a highly researched topic, even though on Google Scholar I found results, but this means this might be a cutting edge research topic where not that many people are linking behavior specific praise as a way to reduce bullying. It's maybe not as popular as you would expect. So that could mean that it's something good for future research to discuss. Let me try something else. How about middle school, for example? We can see how that narrows down the results. So now we only got 14 about middle school. So you can see middle school is also a context where it hasn't been researched as much. Oh, by the way, yeah, we should also check the dates. You can narrow down the date range you would like in any of these databases as well. All right, so next let's go on to ProQuest. So let's go back to the list of databases here. So remember that ProQuest is something that has even more resources available in there. And I do want to see if there's anything related to bullying. So you can see here in ProQuest, we got 267 results about that topic. So that's a very different result. One thing you should be aware of is that when you use ProQuest, it's using a whole wide variety of sources here. It's using both dissertations, scholarly journals. Some of these, they might even be magazines or news articles. So say I only want scholarly journals. I can click this link here, or I could click peer reviewed, and that'll give me only scholarly journals as well. So I'll click the peer reviewed box, and I'll narrow it down to 15. So you can see there's only 15 results, but it was commonly researched in dissertations, but not so much in the peer-reviewed article. So it's probably somewhat of a new research area to study these three topics together. Measuring teacher implementation and delivery of bullying prevention program. That looks like kind of exactly what I was looking for. You can see what methods they used. And when you're using this database, you often have a lot of the same tools that we looked at before, like the cite button, but they just look different. So, but you have the same procedure here. You find the citation, you put it in whatever citation style you want. So the most recent one is APA 7th, and then you have to check and make sure that the title is correct. So I still think they're having this mistake here. This shouldn't have so many capital letters here. And as I said, you just have to go compare this to some citation examples at the APA website and make sure that you're using the correct style. All right, so that's how you use the ProQuest system. The ProQuest has filters on the side for date. There's different, the last 12 months, last 5 years. All right, so as I was saying earlier today, that these are basically, you can think of these 4 databases as 4 windows to get access to the research field, and I recommend using all of them. Try all of them. You get different results. You can see sometimes the same search term might not give you anything in one database, but it'll give you a whole lot in the other. So that's why it's good to search broadly with multiple tools, because no tool is perfect. They all have different drawbacks, but plenty of advantages as well, as you could see. All right, thank you so much for making it this far in the video. I really appreciate your attention to all these different amazing resources we have through the Montgomery Library. If you need to contact us, you can go back to the library homepage here. You can find our contact information here, and you can request a research help appointment using this link here. Bye, thank you everyone. Best wishes on your research this summer.